So, I've got roughly 34 weeks until I go out to Mallorca for my 6th ever cycling trip out there. And up until now, I've been saying to myself, yeah, that's plenty of time to train. But now I've had a chance to sit and think about it, it really isn't. My general rule of thumb is that it takes between 12 and 18 weeks to go from square one, so that's no fitness at all, to being able to ride a typical 100-mile sportive. But I don't want to go over there and just ride. I want to be able to go over there and smash the PRs that I've previously set out there, plus do a few things that I've never done there before. So for instance, one of the big things that I've never done before is, would you believe, I've never ridden up Sacalobra. Now if you don't know about Sacalobra, basically it's a 10-kilometre climb, but to get there you have to ride back down it to the little kind of village thing of Sacalobra, and from there there's nowhere else to go. You've just got to turn around on yourself and come straight back up the climb. I've always got to the top, looked down and thought, oh my word, that's a long way. I can't do that. And I've never done it, so I'm going to put that right this trip. I also want to go and ride the Puig Major. Now the last time I rode the Puig Major, I've only ever ridden it once by the way, was back in 2003 on my first ever trip out there. It took me roughly an hour and a half to get from Soler, the town at the bottom, to the tunnel at the top. And this time I'm not going to be overly concerned about how long it's going to take me. If I beat my hour and a half that I set in 2003, obviously that was before Strava and these GPS cycling computers, I'll be really happy. I think one of the problems for me is that, yes, okay, 34 weeks is quite a long time away. So it is still fairly abstract. And I kind of think to myself, well, okay, you know, I do have plenty of time to train. And I suppose on paper I do. But like I say, when I've sat and thought about it, if it takes me, worst case scenario, 18 weeks to get fit, then I've only got another, you know, maybe 20 weeks or so, 18 weeks again, to improve on that fitness. Like I say, I don't want to go out there and just ride. I want to be really fit and have the most amazing trip I've ever had out there. So what I need to do is start breaking the entire trip down into intermediate goals. So those intermediate goals will be, at the moment, the first one is to ride 50 kilometers. Now, normally, you know, I can do that, but I haven't ridden 50 kilometers for a couple of months now, so that's my first big target. Then after that it's going to be 70 kilometers, and then 100 kilometers, and then 100 miles. And obviously I know when I'm going to Majorca, that's 34 weeks time, and I can now start to break down those intermediate goals into an active timeline that's going to get me from here to being super fit for Majorca in September. So that said, I want to be able to go out and ride 50 kilometers in 4 weeks time. And 2 weeks after that, I want to be able to ride 70 kilometers, and then another 2 weeks after that, I want to be able to go out and ride 100 kilometers. When I hit 70 kilometers, that is going to be my regular kind of training distance. And I'll try and do that 3 times a week and accumulate about 200 kilometers a week of riding. Once I can ride 100 kilometers, and I'm fairly confident that I can do it consistently, I'll be looking to do my Westminster Bridge ride. So that's riding from here in Hampshire up to London over Westminster Bridge, and that'll be about 110 kilometers. And I'm looking to do that in early April, so in about 10 weeks time. Coming up on the 6th of May, so that's 14 weeks away, is one of my favourite rides, the Isle of Wight Randonnée. So that's 110 kilometres around the island, but if I was to cycle from here down to catch the ferry at Portsmouth and back again, that would be another 20 kilometres. The island itself is pretty hilly, so it's a real test of fitness. The last time I rode it was a couple of years ago, and I can't remember my time off the top of my head, but I was relatively fit, relatively light, so I would like to be able to beat that time. So I'm just going to have to look it up on Strava and find out. Coming up at the end of July is the Prudential London 100. So I've entered the ballot, but I don't know the results yet, so hopefully I'll get in. If I don't, I will be doing an independent 100-mile ride, and that, like I say, will be the end of July or the beginning of August. And finally, 3 days before I go to Mallorca is another 100 miler. I think they call it the Southern 100. It's another ballot ride. I've entered it. Hopefully I'll get in, but if I don't, again, I will ride an independent 100 miler. So that's my rather loose training plan at the moment. If I follow it, I'll absolutely smash those PRs when I get to Majorca. So if you've got a particular training tip that you'd like to give me, please leave a comment below. Otherwise, please like and share. And if you'd like to track my training or indeed see any of my other cycling films, please click subscribe for my regular weekly uploads. Thanks for watching.